Recording started. If you can see me and hear me and hear me and see me, let's go. B minor.
The X Factor.
And we're here. We're back. It's been too long. Good to see you, X.
Brent, always great to see you, man. It's been way, way too long.
It has been way, way, way too long. Austin will be joining us today. Austin, what's up, man?
You have me on. I'm excited for this.
This will be fun. I promise you that, or I will give you your money back. Money back, guarantee that B minor and the X Factor, you will have a good time.
That's a pretty good deal, by the way. You can't beat that.
BOGO. I do like a good BOGO. Buy one, get one. Still doesn't top money back guarantee.
Man, I need a good BOGO. It's been a while since I got a good BOGO.
That, if you can get like buy one and then the second one's free, like that's just such a enticing deal to me. It's almost like 50% off. We're all math guys here, but I would say not quite as good as half off just because of the fact that you have to get 2 meals.
Then you still got to pay the full price at least once.
At least once. Where if you get 50% off, you can go back twice. I don't know. Maybe I'm just over analyzing the situation here. But if you get the chance to get 50% off or BOGO, go with 50% off.
See, Austin, we don't just talk about hoops on this podcast. We give life lessons.
Write that down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hard to argue with, right? Like the logic behind it. Because I've had people say, oh, BOGO is the same as 50% off. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's close. Mathematically, maybe, but it's different. Same, but different. It's good to be back. It's good to see the energy from the X Factor. It was awesome getting to connect down in Vegas. Look at that. Let's step up this StreamYard with the stroll, the strolling of the name of the show. And then we can go, boom, this guy right here on B minor and the X Factor live.
Their technology is great. We're not sponsored by StreamYard right now, at least. We should be. So StreamYard, if you're listening. But I will say, non-sponsored, that this is an excellent platform. Like, this is awesome. Look, it's so cool. You know what I mean? I think it beats Zoom, personally. I said it. You heard it here first. I think it's better than Zoom.
Austin's the type of guy who's probably been on podcasts or a lot of video. How is it? I mean, this is pretty nice, right? Like, because I can control what goes up on the screen. Obviously, it's not just random. But there's also where we could have like a waiting room where people could be in the back listening, but not be seen and not be able to speak. So there's a lot of really cool things that make this platform a little bit different than Zoom. Can you hear me?
Been on a lot of these. I think we got a little bit of slow connection there, but I've been on a lot of different things like this. And when you sent me this link, I didn't know what it was or what it was about. I'd never seen it before, but I'm looking at it now, and this is prime time technology. Like I'm already drawn in just by the visuals that you got going on and everything that you can do with the moving little platform down there. I like it.
By the end, we'll do a survey. How was your experience with StreamYard 1 to 10? But not yet, though. It's too early. It's too early. We got to go through the whole thing first.
But what I can do is I can jump, because sometimes we mix it up. Sometimes we go quotes at the end. Sometimes we go quotes at the beginning. I'm going to throw mine out there because it's going to be able to be shown at the bottom of the screen. And it's one that I posted earlier, but you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. I'll read that again and let that kind of sink in, because at first I was a little confused. But you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you.
That's tough. That's tough.
The way it's just, you can't change the people around you, but you can get around the similar people who are like-minded, who have the similar energy, because energy is contagious and infectious. And I want to surround myself and put myself around the people instead of trying to go to others and change them per se. Sometimes I try to change the energy in a positive way of whoever it is that's around me. But sometimes I like to surround myself with people that are like-minded and have that same energy level, which is why it's so good to have seen you guys in Vegas. This is the first episode we've recorded since the three of us met for the first time. I had been recording episodes with, am I pointing the right way now?
Looks good to me.
Yeah. This guy, because it's backwards. It's like reverse negative on me.
It's so weird because this is my right, but I think the way on the screen it appears is me pointing left, right?
That looks like you're pointing left to me.
Yeah.
But I'm pointing left too, but we're pointing at each other.
Now we're pointing. I'm pointing to him now.
Down. He's right over there.
Oh. I got you on my screen like this.
You are a little delayed. It's like it takes a second for your microphone to pick up on those headsets. Nothing against AirPods or AirBuds or earphone pod buds, iPhone jack buds, earpods, headset.
Airbud, I think, is a dog.
Airbud is a dog. You're right. AirPod buds, AirBuds, earbuds. What are those things called? AirPods? AirPods. This technology today, I remember when the big headphones came out and they were so much better than the little thin ones that you get at the airplane. You guys are both young, but out of college now. Let's go. College grad, the X Factor coming through. Now he's big time. Look at him just with this new backdrop from the. Tell me you still have Black Panther.
I absolutely do still have iced out Black Panther. That is one thing. He's going to live with me probably for the rest of my life. And he's in the living room right now. I'm in my bedroom, but he is never too far away.
I'm glad that he's keeping tabs now in Chicago, working, living the dream. I'm stoked for you, man. Like, definitely really cool to see you out of school now. And you know, we started this as walk-ons, and now you're out in the world and released into the world after graduating from DePaul. And now do you want to give a shout out to your company? I mean, do you want to name drop anybody here that maybe will be transcribed in the comments below?
Yeah, man. So I'm working for Northwestern Mutual in Chicago. We work with insurance and also investments, stocks and whatnot. And then also working for my dad back in Indiana, some of his real estate and then his automotive company. It's called Apex Auto Care. So yeah, just staying busy. I see Indiana. Yes, sir, the Colts. And I was gonna make a note too. I like that Indiana in the back there. What is that? Is that just a sign?
State sign. It's a bottle cap holder.
Bottle cap. So, that's what it is. Yeah. It almost looked like Connect 4, but not quite.
Chinese checkers.
Chinese checkers.
There you have it. So Austin, I guess maybe we should tell a few people here who you are, why we are so excited to have you as a guest, why you are a featured speaker at the Exclusive in Vegas. Mental right there. Whoop, whoop. Yo, yo, yo. The Exclusive in Vegas happening. Let's go. This guy was there. This guy was there. This guy was there. It was, what do you think I'm going to say? Lit? Live?
Litty. It was litty.
It was litty. So much litness was going on at the Exclusive. But Austin spoke there, also spoke to a club team that I coach. I got to hear him speak a few times. Always brings great information when he can hear me now. But if you can see me and hear me and hear me and see me, then we'll continue on with this. But definitely enjoyed the content that you bring and the energy you bring. So tell us just maybe a little bit about your experience at Indiana as a Hoosier and now what you're doing in the mental performance world.
I'm a mental performance coach. My company's Prime Performance that I'm trying to get built up, and I've been kind of building here in Indianapolis. And that's what led me to you and what led me to the exclusive, which, by the way, was a top tier, well put together tournament. And even if I don't get asked to come back as a keynote speaker, I might come back as a fan to watch at some point because there was just a lot of talent there. It was a great resort. I had an awesome time. And so basically what I do is I teach athletes and coaches and even business people on what it's like from the mental side of sport or the mental side of business. And honestly, right now with the topics of mental health and mental performance, it's really never been bigger than what it is, especially with the Simone Biles news and everything that kind of went on in the Olympics. There's just a lot of buzz around it. And when I first got into this field, like I had no clue what this was about. I didn't know what it was when I was in high school. I had experienced burnout. It was probably the worst thing that ever happened to me, but it was a blessing in disguise. It really led me to where I ended up going to get my education at IU. But with all this, it's been a great and unique road to get to where I'm at with it. So long story short, I went to IU, started doing physical therapy there, got my undergrad in kinesiology and biomechanics, and ended up putting psychology in there because I took a sports psych class. And like I was saying a little bit ago, this field is something I had never known anything about. But when I went into that lecture, that very first lecture, I remembered it was on the topic of burnout in the sports psychology class that I was taking, and it just completely consumed me from then on out. And so ended up learning more about it and decided to switch over from wanting to be a physical therapist to doing whatever was the sports psychology stuff. And from then on out, it was just every single day I was living, breathing this stuff, just getting my hands on anything that I could to better my knowledge on the field. So found out that IU is one of the few schools around that offered a master's program in sports psychology, ended up staying an extra 2 years in college, got to do my master's in mental health counseling and sports psychology, had some really great internships, got to really learn what it was like to be a sports psychology, mental performance coach. And from there, I got to meet some great people. I met a guy named Stu Singer, a guy named Graham Betchart, got to see how they run their companies, how they do their things. Stu's the sports psychologist for the Wizards and Mystics. Graham runs his own company called Train the Mind. Got to meet a ton of other great people, Brant being one of those. Got connected with his team, got to go out to the exclusive. And from there, building on it, teaching people on the mental side of sport and what it's like to be mentally fit.
I think there's so much importance to that because I think that in the world of sports in general, that's something that goes extremely unnoticed and unrecognized. Like people look at the physical strain that it takes on your body, which obviously it does, especially the higher levels that you go. Of course, it demands more and more and more from you. But what about that mental stress that it takes on you? You know what I mean? Like with my experience with basketball, when you fully engulf yourself in basketball, and it could be anything, but let's just talk basketball for now. When you fully engulf yourself in something like that, that becomes your life. So when things aren't going so well or when you're overworked, you're overstressed, that really consumes you. So I think what you're doing is awesome and definitely beneficial to a lot of people in the space.
It's I think once you start to see what it's all about and you get some background on it, you really start to realize, okay, this is something that I could use. Because we hear all the time that sports are 90% mental. Well, how often is that actually being practiced in practices, or how often are you actually using mental skills or mental technique in game? If it's 90%, well, 90% of your performance is not going to be that great if you're not practicing this stuff and you don't know how to utilize it well.
Pressure. How do you describe pressure, and what advice would you give to somebody who wants to practice being clutch when it's needed?
A mindset thing. You put importance on an event, and that is what becomes pressure. So whenever we feel pressure, it is us putting a level of importance on something. So you feel pressure before a big game because you put that much importance on that one event. So that builds up pressure. And the biggest misconception with pressure is that people.
Whoa. It cut out. I don't know. Did it cut out for you, X?
It cut out for me too. Yeah.
Right when you were like, the earbuds are like, you got to say, ready, start, and then say something and then it cut out on us. And it was like, right when you were like, the most important thing you can do to avoid pressure is. I can't hear you now. I can read lips, and I know you said, can you hear me now? And maybe muffled.
I caught that too, but I wasn't able to hear either.
Skip ahead if you're watching this. Skip ahead 10 seconds, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.
From your
Brought to you by previous quotes on the show. Stay away from those who try to belittle your ambitions and dreams, because small people will always do that. But the great make you believe you can be great too. Returning to the show, Austin mutes on mic.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
All right.
Bada bing, bada boom.
There we go. See, I'm learning something new every day. The AirPods, I'm done with those now on podcasts and stuff.
Maybe wired. I've seen like the wired ones work sometimes, but
yeah, it was getting my way. So where I was at with it, I'm just going to assume that you guys heard a little bit of it. But when we think of pressure is this level of importance that we put on one event, like I was kind of saying. I don't know how much you heard of it, but we put pressure on ourselves. And there's this huge misconception with pressure, is that pressure is this negative thing, and pressure is this thing that is there to haunt us and to completely derail our athletic career or our academic career, whatever it is that we're feeling pressure in. So what I tell people is that when you feel pressure, it's actually for your benefit. That is like your body literally alerting you that, hey, something important is going on. I don't know what it is, but I'm just trying to I'm here to wake you up and let you know, hey, this is a bodily sensation to get you going, to get your mind right, to get you focused. And while it feels uncomfortable, that's just how our mind and our body works when we put importance on a certain event, a high level of importance, right? So when you're feeling that pressure, I tell people all the time, the main thing people talk is, oh, well, I feel butterflies in my stomach, or I feel sick to my stomach. And, I'm like, well, when you feel those butterflies, yeah, they might be flying around and it might feel weird and uncomfortable. Why don't you use things like deep breathing or visualization or positive self-talk, which are mental skills that I work on with my athletes? Why don't you use things like that to make those butterflies fly in formation? Why don't you use those mental skills to make that uncomfortable feeling as if it's like it's a feeling that's charging you, putting some type of charge or a little bit of extra energy into your body, and use that to your advantage for when you go out there and you have to compete, or when you go out there and you have to perform on a really big exam, or you've got this really big business presentation, or like I do whenever I do my keynote speeches, I use that to energize me and to get me going. I don't have your guys' level of energy just yet, but I'm getting there. You guys are top tier energy level, so I'm trying to learn from you. I like being around you guys because it gets me to that level a little bit. So,
wait, don't sell yourself short though. You're a high energy guy too. I can tell you're one of us. You're one of the guys. So we appreciate that too. I did have a question for you though. So where is the balance of this, right? Because I think I've had this conversation with a lot of people. A lot of the most memorable moments of my 4 years playing college basketball at DePaul was obviously the big wins that we had, but we went on a lot of losing streaks, if we're being completely honest, right? We didn't always win the most. Some of the most memorable moments for me was just those team building things that we would do. Like, let's say we went to the movies, we went bowling, we went anywhere. All the guys went to Navy Pier. You know what I mean? Like, whatever the case was, I feel like when we were going through those stretches of losing, those would be the things that would bring us up. You know what I mean? Where do you think the balance is between finding a healthy amount of times to do that, or doing it so much to the point that it takes away from, almost like the treat that it's supposed to be, and kind of takes away from basketball. Like, okay, can we just go back to practice? You know what I mean? Like, what do you think the connection in the middle is there?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things on that I would dive into. Is when I talk to people, and I think you did the right thing with all that, is people always wait to win to have fun. And I'm like, no, you go have fun and then you wait to win, right? Because when you're having fun, your chances of winning are much more likely than if you're not having fun and you're out there and you're going things that are pretty serious, like performance anxiety, depression, even, things like that could really derail your season. If you don't think you're winning when you're having fun, think about what it would be like if you were not having fun. So I think that there's there's, how do I want to phrase it here? There's a connect between the coach and athlete relationship, and you really have to put some trust into your coach to be able to be the one to step in on those situations. Like, yeah, you as players have to go out and have fun. And to Brant's quote, I was thinking, you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. I was thinking of it, you could think of it in an opposite way. When you're on a team, you can't change your teammates around you. You can't just get up and change your team. I mean, I guess you could transfer if you wanted in college, or you could change high schools if you wanted, but those are exceptions, right? So you can't change your teammates around you, but you could be the person to change your teammates around you in a culture sense. So I was thinking of it in a backwards sense. So what you were talking about, X Factor, is you, probably your teammates as well, being one of the people to create that sense of fun culture and create a sense of, we're not focused on such serious questions. And this is in my keynote too. If you're focusing on winning and losing, if you're focusing on who's the leading scorer, if you're focusing on what your statistics were that day, or anything regarding things that you can't control, you're thinking about the wrong things. The questions you should be asking are, did I have good energy? Did I have good hustle? Was I a good teammate? Am I having fun? It's not always fun to lose, but you can make the situation what you want it to be. You can choose to be happy in a bad situation. Happiness is a mindset. Being depressed or being sad is a mindset as well. So it's whatever you think of the situation is what you make of it. But to answer your question, sure, I think that it really comes with the coach-athlete relationship, to where you find that middle ground. Because when you're an athlete and when you're in college, hey, I get it. You want to go out and you want to have as much fun as you possibly can, sports even aside. But that's where you guys have to trust your coach. Okay, when we are not reaching that potential that we want to reach in terms of in game, that's where your coach comes in and says, hey, this is what we need to do from a culture standpoint, and change it in a different way. Still have fun, but maybe reel it in and make it a little bit more serious in practice, or do team building drills that are a little bit more competitive. Something like that is what I would suggest.
Here we are.
I thought you were frozen for a second. I was like,
I saw some frozen on my screen too.
It seemed like it was skipping out a little bit. Did that answer your question, X? Did that give you some good information?
I think what I gathered from it was maybe instead of two shots before you go out, only take one. No, I'm kidding. But we didn't do that. Nobody does that in college. It's not a thing that people do in college. Nobody goes out. Nobody enjoys Chicago. If you're in Chicago, nobody does that. We don't do that kind of stuff. But finding a happy medium to having fun.
How do you balance it now that you're out of college, still having fun? And how do you balance staying up late but having to get up early?
I think fun for me, the definition of fun has transitioned. And what I mean by that is fun before was fun for me has always been goals, achieving goals that I had. So goals in college and goals now are different. My goals in college would be, man, I'm going to have a great practice today. Me having a great practice means getting everybody else hyped. You know what I mean? Like making sure that everybody else has a great practice. I wasn't the best player on my team. As a matter of fact, I was the worst player on my team. So like, those were my goals. How am I going to get an A on this test? How am I going to get a 4.0 GPA? Like those used to be my goals, you know what I mean, during that time. So those would be fun to me, and to reward myself, I would also, have fun in other aspects, whatever that may have been for me. For me, it's restaurants. Like I like to go out too, if we're being honest, but I like restaurants. Like I reward myself like going to eat. I love food. I'm a foodie. If I didn't work out, I would be 1,000 pounds. But so that was fun. That was fun. Fun. I just made a word. That was fun to me before. Now fun to me isn't as much going out. Like I still like to go out, but I don't get to as much because I'm more busy. So now fun for me is like cooking out with my dad on the weekends. You know what I mean? Like going and hanging out with my family, seeing people that I haven't seen. Like on Sunday, I just saw my sister who lives in St. Joe, Michigan, which is not that far away, but like just been so busy that I haven't been able to see her. Sunday, we got some free time. Boom, going out there. Like, so now instead of like me wanting to take my free time and go out, now I want to take my free time and like have fun, which has changed for me. So
how far is that? Let me just hear, how far is
like 2 hours from Chicago and then like 45 minutes from my hometown.
Okay.
So not crazy far. I don't have too much of an excuse to not see her that much, except unless when I'm in Chicago, then, you know,
But you got to see her recently, so that's good. Never pass up the opportunity to see family.
No, never. Definitely one thing I don't take for granted. And I got to see, she has so many animals, so many pets. Like, and they're weird pets too. Like she has cats, she has dogs, she has ferrets, which is really cool. And I don't think, besides her house, I don't think I've ever seen a ferret in person. She has multiple ferrets. So it's like, And everything has a big ecosystem in there. Like they all get along.
Wow. That's an interesting dynamic of a household.
Yeah, big time.
I have a wife and a daughter and no pets, so we're boring.
No, that's fun though. That's fun too. That's not boring.
It is fun. It is fun. Absolutely. Got to go to the zoo yesterday. So we saw some otters. Otters are one of my favorite things at the zoo.
Otters are dope.
So we started with my quote. Austin, do you have a quote, or is there anything that you want to share with our listeners, viewers, audience, all the people watching this live? Do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, my quote that I was kind of thinking of, and one that I thought would be beneficial, is, you don't have to control your thoughts. You just have to stop letting your thoughts control you. So I think I talked about it a little bit more, to where you control what you can control. So that's this concept of, to where for me personally, when I was in high school, I just always was getting eaten up by my thoughts, pre-game, during the game, post-game. Heck, even when I wasn't like practicing, and when it was time for me to go to bed, or when it was time for me to wake up and I was at school, like I was letting my performance really eat away at me, my past performances, and then what I was going to do in the future too. Like I put this pressure on myself to perform, and it was really rough there for a minute. So what I've really adapted to is this model of the think, feel, behave model. And what it essentially is, your thoughts affect your feelings, which then in turn affects your behavior, and feelings being your emotions, behavior being your performance. So quite literally, what you think ends up affecting you and how you perform physically. So your thoughts become your physical actions. And if you're letting your thoughts control you, and your thoughts are negative, then you're probably not going to have a really great performance. Now, if you stop letting your thoughts control you, and all that aside, whether they're negative or positive, you're still setting yourself up for success. You're still in that mindset and that mode that you can go out there and compete, and you can compete at a really high level.
Love that quote. You don't have to control your thoughts, but don't let your thoughts control you.
Yeah, you just have to stop letting your thoughts control you. Yeah, that's essentially it.
Yeah, I love that. X, you got something for us? What do you got? What's on your mind today?
I got the heat for you. I got some fire for you, Brandon Austin. Come on now, and all the listeners. This is what I got today. I got, be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind.
Brilliant.
Boom. Crazy. The first time that I heard something like that, and that's why I was attracted to this quote in particular. I was at some kind of car show, had something to do with cars, and it was a big event with my dad when I was younger. And they had a stand where it was a military individual who was having people do pull-ups, and like X amount of pull-ups. I don't remember how many pull-ups you had to do, but you won a prize. And he said, mind over matter, because if you don't mind, then it doesn't matter. And that's always stuck with me. It's like, you know. So the people who mind don't matter. The people, like, if you're you and people are judging you, everybody around you, maybe it's not the best people to be around. Unless you're doing something poor that you shouldn't be doing, and the people around you care about you, like your family or your friends who you consider family, are telling you not to do it, then that's a different story. But if you're being yourself and you're doing well, you're doing good things, and people are judging you, maybe not the best people to be around. Don't really matter, right? The people who really matter are not going to mind. They're going to be there for you, regardless of who you are. You guys are going to grow together, right? It's going to be a pyramid of growth because everybody's supporting each other. And I just feel like that's the best way to go about life. So be you, work hard, work harder when you think you're working hard as you possibly can. And I think the results are going to be there. And just surround yourself with good people.
Say it one more time.
Whole quote.
Be who you are. Say what you feel.
Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who
mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind.
Don't mind. Boom. So what the X Factor had for you guys today.
There it is. Let's go. Right at a half hour. Perfect amount of time. Perfect amount of energy. Austin, you rock, man. Really appreciate you hopping on and joining us. X Factor, always a pleasure.
Always.
Enjoy it. It's good to be back. It's been too long. It's been about a month since it's exclusive, and it was a while before that. You were working on your job. I was working on the exclusive, but here we are. Here we are. Here we are.
Man, everybody on this show has heard about the exclusive a lot too, and Austin touched on it earlier. And I told Brant this probably 1,000 times, and I'm going to tell him another 1,000. That is an event. Like, that is an event. I've been a lot of places, a lot of basketball events, a lot of camps, a lot of tournaments, a lot of things. That was an event. That is more than a legit event. So, guys, girls, everybody, just know, like, this is going to be here to stay, and tune in every single summer for that, because that is like the event of the year, one that I'm looking forward to, like, for years and years and years to come.
You guys heard it. You heard it here from the X Factor right over there. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Austin. Any parting shots?
I appreciate you guys having me on. And to follow up with that, like I said earlier, the exclusive, that is the place to be. I had a heck of a time there. I think that was a really well put together event. And when I got to speak with some of the players, they were talking about how awesome it was too. And I know it's really great for exposure, and not only that, really great competition in games. So I commend you for putting together such a well done tournament.
Thank you, Austin. I appreciate that. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been fun, you guys. It's been real fun. Let's stay in touch. And if you're watching this, we'll see you guys down the road.